Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast.
Welcome back. And as you know, whenever we do an 80s album, we bring in the man himself, the great Bostonian, the hip-hop historian, the author, the journalist, label, owner, A&R, whatever have you, the inimitable Dart Adams. Give it up for him.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Glad to be here, especially to talk about this particular group and this particular song.
Well, I know you have a great affinity for the Adidas brand, so I kind of knew going in you'd want to pick this one.
Well, I mean, there's multiple reasons why I wanted to pick my Adidas specifically. Is one, yes, because I'm from Boston, and Boston is an Adidas town. But the main reason is that the lead single from the album, Raising Hell, is my Adidas, and the B-side was Peter Piper. And the wild thing about that is that Peter Piper being the B-side ends up being the first song on the album. And that's kind of an interesting thing, right? But also my Adidas being the lead single. You think about Run-DMC. Run-DMC, first appears on the scene back in 1983, right? They dropped two singles, Hard Times and, 30 Days, and then they released their debut album in 1984. At the time they released their debut album, there's very few rap LPs that exist. Then they end up on MTV, arguably one of the first rap groups to ever end up on MTV. And they kind of legitimized the genre between a few different acts. Then you have the Fresh Fest, it's basically Run-DMC, the Fat Boys, Houdini, who are also one of the first acts to really make rap seem like it was a viable genre of music. The Fat Boys, blow up also. Then we get Crush Groove, which is one of the seminal rap movies. But in terms of my Adidas, it's interesting because at the end of King of Rock, they say, Lee on my leg, Adidas on my feet, D by my side, yo J bust the beat. So they were always talking about their Adidas sneakers already because rap, believe it or not, was very brand specific, right? You wore your Leash, you wore your Kangos, you had your Cazal shades. Everybody rapped about their specific sneaker. Some cats rapped about their Bally's, Dougie Fresh. Some cats rapped about their Pumas, MC Shan, I'm looking at you, But this specific song, My Adidas, was crucial because, one, everybody knows we wear Adidas, we're associated with the brand, but they made an ode to a sneaker that was hip-hop, that embodied the b-boy aesthetic, that embodied the culture. And that was huge because if you're sitting in Adidas's offices, and I believe it was in Oregon at the time, I believe it's still in Oregon, they were like, wait a minute. These dudes about to sell a hell of a lot of sneakers for us. But not only that, they've been doing it for years. And also, the big difference between Run-DMC and a lot of groups is that by the time they get to their third album, it's very clear they have at least a million fans. Millions. And also, Run-DMC was one of the first groups, and this is very crucial, that white kids in middle America had their posters on their wall. Okay? So if you're going to pick up, so Run-DMC did not just have the reach of just the black folks in the inner city and the ghetto, I'm using air quotes. They had the world. They had everybody. Run-DMC performed at Live Aid. That's a line on the song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We performed at Live Aid. Do you know the names of the people who performed at Live Aid? Big acts, huge acts. if you were a rap group that was on the stage at Live Aid, do you know how big you had to be? How much influence you had to have? What kind of audience you needed to have in order to get on stage at Live Aid? There's a lot of great rap groups that could not get on that stage. And Run-DMC, they got aired on television. Because I watched Live Aid. I watched a lot of acts on Live Aid. I watched a lot of people I ain't give a fuck about. Wanna know why I watched Live Aid? Because I knew that I was gonna see Run-DMC.
Word.
You know? Don't get me wrong, Queen's dope, but I wanted to see Run-DMC perform.
Right.
They did a whole ass movie, and the climax was Freddie Mercury bodying Live Aid. And as a kid, I was like, oh yeah, wow, that's a good job. Where's Run-DMC? You know what I'm saying? So just to give you an idea.
So I do have some questions, because you noted that you said MC Shan had a Puma's record. Is that right?
Well, he rapped about Pumas. He didn't specifically make records about Puma. So here's the thing. After this song comes out, other people start making songs about sneaker brands. You know, motherfuckers will be rapping about Diodora. Cats, my Puma came out later. Then I believe. Oh yeah. So Kid and Play weren't always Kid and Play. They used to be called Fresh Force, and they made a song called She's Skeesa. You know, to this song. So it's hilarious. Find it on YouTube. It'll crack you the fuck up. But people started realizing that, hey, I can make a song that's an ode to a brand, and it'll have the same reach as my Adidas did. And, you know, on the first album, the Heavy D and the Boys did, you know, Living Large, they had a song called Nike. Nike, then Nike. Night, 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 night. Like, that shit happened, right?
Okay.
So, but this song was huge because it was the lead single off of, and Run-DMC was already huge, but this is the lead single off the album. They reached their peak. Run-DMC is never more popular, never more important, never more famous, and never more important than they are during Raising Hell. Raising Hell is their peak, and it had a lot to do with this single being the lead single, because I tell you, yes, My Adidas is the lead single. The B-side is Peter Piper. This was one of the most important 12 inches to the entire culture. But My Adidas is huge because here's the thing about My Adidas, right? My Adidas doesn't become a massive crossover hit. You know, it's a huge rap hit, you know, but My Adidas is just a setup for the album. As we all know what the big song was on this album that you know, changed everything. But for the heads.
So was this almost like the first street single, maybe not the first, but like this sounds like what I would think of as like in the modern day as like the street single. It's not really for the radio per se, but it's for the heads, like to get them hyped for the album.
Well, no, it's not because I'm going to actually bring something up to give you an idea of what the landscape was like back in 1986, May going into June 1986 when this single dropped. Because if you look on Wikipedia, it'll tell you this single dropped 2 weeks after the album, which is bullshit. So I'm going to pull up the May 31st, 1986 Hot Black Single Sales and Airplay chart. I want you to understand fully what My Adidas was like in the scope of black music. And there was no better way to gauge what was hot than black radio in 1986. So I'm going to give you the full scope, the gamut of what was hot at the time. I'm looking at the top 40 in sales and airplay. Janet Jackson, What Have You Done For Me Lately? Houdini, Funky Beat. Timex Social Club, Vicious Rumors. These are all like classics, jams that they play at the function, they play at the barbecue to this day. To this day. Force MD's Here I Go Again. 52nd Street, Tell Me How It Feels. Run-DMC's My Adidas. Freddie Jackson, Love Is Just a Touch Away. Okay, I need to, if you don't know about this song, Freddie Jackson was probably the most impressive black hit maker whose songs never crossed over. This man would go platinum just with black folks. He would have 5 hits every album just with black folks. Never crossover. Haven't seen it since. And Love Is Just a Touch Away was actually redone, I believe, by Mac 10. Money's Just a Touch Away. Anyway, so we got Philip Bailey's State of the Heart. If you don't have any idea what this song is, State of the Heart was probably one of the illest bangers of 1986. If you pull that bitch up on YouTube right now, you will start doing the Cabbage Patch. Like, to give you an idea. Like, it's not the size of the bed, it's the state of the heart. Like, this shit, it's a banger. And there's a guitar riff in there. The song's a fucking banger, I tell you. Anyway, Pet Shop Boys, West End Girls.
You really love that one.
There.
Yeah. Joski Love, Pee Wee's Dance. The Jets, Crush on You. Fat Boys, Sex Machine. This is also one of the only few other rap acts on this fucking list. Patty Austin, The Heat of the Heat. Jesus Christ. Anita Baker, Watch Your Step. Midnight Star, Headlines. Johnny Kemp, Just Another Lover. I'm talking El DeBarge, Who's Johnny? Sade, Never As Good As the First Time. 5-star. Love, Take Over. We're talking Alexander O'Neal. We used to have good love, but now it's gone. And girl, we gotta find out what's missing. I'm talking about motherfucking Prince and the Revolution Kiss. All right? We're talking new shoes, I can't wait. All right? Atlantic Star, If Your Heart Isn't In It. We're talking Whitney Houston, Greatest Love of All. I'm not going to sing that shit. All right? Janet Jackson, Nasty. SOS Band, The Finest, which got flipped by Doom most popularly, that everybody knows. But the lead song on both charts, On My Own by Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald. Okay? To give you an idea, Midnight Star, Headlines, Extra, Extra, read all about it. Like, these are all-time great. Morris Day, The Character, on the other chart, all right? Like, I'm telling you, fucking Jeffrey Osborne, You Should Be Mine. Rainy Davis, Sweetheart, which is one of the all-time great 12s in black music history. Now, I just gave you about, 45 songs that were on the charts at the time, both in
From
sales
like
and
Titans
airplay.
too. Like, yeah, these are not weak records. Right.
And on one chart, we have Run-DMC, My Adidas at 33, and on the other chart, My Adidas is at 34. And it wasn't on the chart the week before. So it had to displace another hot song in black music. To give you an idea.
And blow past Prince at that. I mean,
like, to give you an idea of how insane this era was. And Run-DMC are one of the few rap artists on the chart. Like, I have the top black albums, which goes up to 75. And let me count how many of these are rap albums. Scrolling up, I haven't said one yet. Scrolling up. Okay, so I just went through 39 through 75, not one.
Wow.
Okay? Jermaine Jackson said 38, though. Grandmaster Flash, The Source is at 27.
Okay.
Houdini's Back in Black is at 19. LL Cool J's Radio is at 13. Fat Boy's Big and Beautiful is at 12. And motherfucker, that's it. I said the chart went to 75. I believe I listed, 5, 6 albums? To give you an idea of the landscape of black music back in 1986, rap basically got aired when the sun went down. Mm-hmm. Like, I've told you these stories before. It was at the back of the store. And My Adidas was big because it got on the radio. Very few rap songs got on the radio. Like, also there's a dance chart, and the dance chart kind of it reflected what people were buying and what was at the club and what got played on college radio.
Right.
Now, that was the place where rap kind of thrived and had its opportunity to grow. But Run-DMC's My Adidas was a legit song that got played on the radio, that got spins, that got airplay, but it just was never the massive hit that, let's say, the next song was. And I don't want to say it because we're going to get to it later. But it's very crucial to understand that, like, this album set up Run-DMC for a lot in terms of doing something that had to be done for future generations of rappers. And that was branding, marketing, and being somebody who could Now we're considered like being a shill for a corporation or something like that. But here, it's just this group is so viable. This art form is so viable. This music and this culture is so vibrant that we can use these motherfuckers to sell sneakers. They don't play ball. Mm-hmm. Run-DMC are not on the Knicks. They're not on the Celtics. You know, they ain't on the Lakers. But these motherfuckers gonna sell us more sneakers than if we were to sign the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 draft pick from the 1986 draft or 85 draft. That's insanity. And so what Run-DMC did with this, and also I have to point this out. The concert, the Adidas executives go to at Madison Square Garden, throw your Adidas in the air. Everybody puts their Adidas in there. The guy looks around, and then they do the thing you could probably find on YouTube where Run, who was probably on coke at the time, said to the camera, I'm just saying, said to the camera, "We won $1 million." They got $1 million.
Wow.
They got $1 million.
That's hard. They earned it though. I mean,
yeah. But it's wild because in 1986, the idea of a black dude who didn't play a sport, even if he did, say, "We won $1 million to endorse your product," and they're like, "Yeah, let's give it to him." What the fuck? Is insanity. But this was the lead single off of one of the most influential rap albums and most important rap albums of all time. And again, this was Run-DMC at their peak. I'm talking Run-DMC was the first rap group to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. Okay? Like they were the stars of Crush Groove. When guys, I saw Crush Groove. I didn't see Crush Groove in the theater because I'm black and I'm broke. I saw Crush Groove on dubbed to a VHS tape. My brother brought it home. My brothers and I watched Crush Groove, and I remember Run got smacked by Sheila E., and I was in shock. I was like, "Oh my God, she slapped Run!" Like, to me, that was like punching the Pope in the face. Like, yo, she just smacked Run-DMC in the face, and he just like touches his face like, "Oh my God." I'm like, what's happening? Like my brain was screaming. But to give you an idea of Run-DMC's, like, how important they were. They were pretty much superheroes, you know? And this song, My Adidas, was crucial because, again, growing up in Boston, Adidas had already been popular going back to like 1979, 1980. But Adidas culture exploded in 1986. You couldn't go anywhere in my neighborhood, Boston. I'm talking the South End, Lower Roxbury going into Jamaica Plain to Dorchester. You couldn't go anywhere in that stretch of where the brown folks in Boston lived without seeing motherfuckers in Adidas, pick a style, any style, and Adidas tracksuits. It was so crazy that people would leave the UK, get on a plane, and come to Boston to buy tracksuits and trainers, as they call them. Like, that's how Adidas-centric Boston was, to the point where when Run-DMC did a show in Boston, you thought it was a homecoming. Like, because, again, Jam Master Jay, the Mizels have family here, but also everybody was Adidas down. So, like, sometimes Jay would go to somebody, there's this dude, Sut, in the neighborhood, the city, who's one of the floor lords, one of the oldest and longest-running b-boy breakdancing crews in the world. And Sut had this Adidas chain. And Jam Master Jay used to be like, "Yo, can I rock that on stage?" Like, that's how down Boston was. I told y'all the story about how I went to Timothy, which no longer exists, and on Roxbury Road in Roxbury, down from Dudley Square, where is now Nubian Square. Love that name. And I went to that school 6th grade, 1986. It was 86, 87. I went to that school, and they did this. I don't know if you're familiar with World's Finest Chocolate.
I think I may have heard of that, but
okay. So World's Finest Chocolate. So World's Finest Chocolate used to be this place that used to do fundraising. And the way they raised funds was they gave you a catalog and you bought candy bars from it.
Oh, I know these. Yeah. On the subway, kids would, in New York, they would sell these for the basketball teams and what have you.
Yeah, but like usually It was a campaign that the whole school did, and the kids would go out and sell it. Yeah. So they came, and we had a big ass assembly, and they were like, "Okay, you're gonna sell these candy bars, and here's what you can get for prizes." And they're like, "If you sell 10, you get this. You sell 20, you get this. You sell 30, you get this. A poster of your choice." And I saw this Run-DMC poster, and I was like, "I need to sell me 30 bars of this fucking candy." And they kept going. They kept going for some reason. You could get a bike. You could get a fucking boat. You could go to something. I was like, I don't want that shit. I need that Run-DMC poster. Right. Now, again, growing up in my neighborhood, and this is a wild story. Growing up in my neighborhood, this is the height. This is the crack era. The crack era. And I wish I could use a better term, but the South End, Lower Roxbury was pretty much the bottom bitch of the drug trade at that time. Like, crack infested. And Roxbury was gang infested, and this is where I went to school. I used to walk through here. We used to call it the what do we call it? The Walk of Death or some shit like that, or the Death March. We called it the Death March.
Oh man!
To walk from my home past all these housing developments and projects, through a housing development project, through a high school, across the street, to climb a mountain. It was a fucking mountain, I promise you. And to go to the Timothy. And it didn't take that long, but it sounds like an arduous journey, through fucking Mordor and shit, to drop the one ring into the crack of doom. But that was just me going to school. Now, there are drug dealers and gang members everywhere. I sold candy bars to these people just so I could get a fucking Run-DMC poster. Okay? I sold 36 bars of candy the first day.
Wow.
I was selling bars of candy to drug dealers, people that people are scared to talk to. I went up to them, I was like, "Yo, buy me 3 bars of chocolate. Buy 5, fuck it. You got the money." And they were just looking at me like, "Yo, this kid is insane." And the wildest part is that after that first day, I was the number one guy in the sales board. They wrote my name and wrote the 36 and put a circle on it. Everybody was like, "Damn!" And they looked at the list of the people I sold them to. You sold 3 chocolate bars to Darrell? Like, Darrell done killed 3 people yesterday. And I was like, "Yeah." Like, I promise you, this happened. I sold like maybe 11 bars to my family, and I sold 25 to just fucking drug dealers and gang members outside the school. And when I came back that first day, everybody was impressed. And then they were like, "Oh, so how many you sell today?" I was like, "None."
So basically, you became Salesman of the Year just for this Run-DMC poster.
Yeah,
which tells you about their impact.
I stopped selling after the first day. People were talking shit about me forever. This motherfucker sold 36 bars of chocolate and it didn't sell no more. I was like, I tried to kill myself over this shit. I got my Run-DMC poster.
Oh man,
yo, I promise you,
money.
Yo, I promise you. Like, I had that Run-DMC poster on my wall forever. On my wall growing up, we had 3 posters. There was that Run-DMC poster. There was a poster of Public Enemy, which was on the other side. And in the middle of it, that my brother bought. And in the middle of it was a poster that we got from Black Beat of Prince and the Revolution. And then there was there was a 4th poster above that one. The 4th poster was out of the Purple Rain album. It was Prince and the Revolution. And then my brother went and got, he took an X-Acto knife and cut out a picture of Prince and the Revolution from a issue of Black Beat, put that in the middle. We had 3 official posters and one that we kind of my brother kind of made a poster. So that was my wall back in 86, 87, going into 88 when Run-DMC puts out It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. But My Adidas is a huge song. And also it's wild because it's running down their career and their importance, but it's not bragging. It's weird. It's very light. I wear my sneakers, but I'm not a sneak. We people stage at Live Aid, all the people gave, and the poor got paid. And I'm so Adidas, something food. Me and my Adidas standing on 2/5, my Adidas. And unfortunately, the idea from the song came from Rapey. He was just make a song talking about me and my Adidas standing on 2/5. He was just drunk. And they were like, "Hey, fine. since you're responsible for everything, we'll fucking honor your wishes and make a song about Adidas.
Right.
And then it ends up becoming like one of the most important songs in the history of history. You know, because drunk rapists said, "Hey, make this song."
So now I assume with the bragging too, the line like my Adidas is seen on the movie screen. Were they referring to Crush Groove?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like, you also have to think about this, right? Crush Groove comes out. Crush Groove blows up. Crush Groove blows up LL Cool J. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, so another big thing about when this comes out. This is the inception of the first golden era. Like, 1986 is a big deal because this is the first year we're starting to see multiple rap albums come out, right? Like, before that, rap was a single-based genre. And to keep in mind, like, how big this is the first year where you could, at the end of the year, you could come up with a top 10 rap albums of 1986. You couldn't do that shit in 85. You couldn't do it in 84. You couldn't do it. You damn sure couldn't do it before 84. You know, 84 is probably the first year that we saw multiple rap albums be released. You know, that you could actually go to the record store and be like, oh, there's multiple rap albums out in vinyl and on cassette. Like, they were very few and far in between before like 84. You know, like think about how. And the other part is like I'm gonna be doing I'm gonna be doing this course, right? And the course is basically gonna be about the evolution of the rap album, right? And everything starts in 86. It's the first year of the golden era. So you think about all the songs that come out hit now, all the albums that come out now. Like 86 is the year that we get first acquainted with Rakim. 86 is the year we first get acquainted with KRS-One. 86 is the year where we first hear Cool G rap on record. Like, 86 is a watershed year. And Run-DMC, Run-DMC comes out and they drop this album before the Beastie Boys, you know, drop a nuclear bomb on planet Earth with License to Ill, you know? Like, this is the beginning of the end. And on July 19th, 1986, when those Adidas executives showed up to Madison Square Garden, and Run-DMC's like, throw your Adidas in the air, and then Run asked for $1 million and gets it, shit was never the same. And I also want to preface this by saying it's not like rap groups or rappers didn't already have endorsement deals. Like, before they got their Adidas deal, Curtis Blow was doing Sprite commercials. Now more than ever, it's Sprite. You can find it on YouTube. And I promise you, the Fat Boys were wearing swatches and doing swatch commercials for years. And in 86, like, you already have, like, you know, Crush Groove, but in 86, the fucking Fat Boys do Disorderlies, you know? And then that's what prompts Run-DMC to start making Tougher Than Leather, the movie. Which, on second thought, maybe they shouldn't have.
Was that like a jump the shark moment for him or something? I've never seen it.
Oh, well, you didn't miss anything. But it's not so much a jump. The movie wasn't so much a jump the shark moment for them. What happened was 1988 happened, right? Mm-hmm. And 1988 is one of the most insane years in rap history. Like, Run-DMC puts out in 1988, Run-DMC puts out Tougher Than Leather, the album, right? And then they go on the Run's House tour. Now, they go out the Run's House tour with Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, who put out He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper months before. Mm-hmm. They go out on this tour with EPMD, whose album comes out while they're on tour. They go on this tour with Public Enemy, whose album comes out while they're on tour. They go on the tour with Stetsasonic, whose album comes out while they're on tour. Now, Run-DMC started off this tour. No, Run-DMC goes on the tour 10 days, maybe around 10 days after the album came out, which is insane, right? And all these other groups come out with their album while on tour. After the tour's over, Public Enemy's bigger than Run-DMC in 88. EPMD's bigger than Run-DMC in 88. Stetsasonic should have been, but their album didn't sell enough. But their album was way better than Run DMC's album. And Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince were bigger than Run DMC after the tour ended. To give you an idea how different 88 was. All right? Run DMC were not the biggest. Run DMC were only bigger than Stetsasonic after that tour ended. And the crazy part is Stetsasonic's album was way better. Stetsasonic's album, Info Gear, is probably one of the all-time greatest rap albums that doesn't get the credit that it deserves.
Let me ask you this. How much of that also had to do with, as we've covered on previous appearances, when we've done Rakim, Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full, Big Daddy Kane, etc., was it a standard change where, you know, the way that Run DMC are rapping sounds somewhat elementary compared to someone like Rakim?
That's part of it. Also, it had a lot to do with rap style, changes in like vocabulary, flow, changes in rap production. And also the crazy thing about, 88. A lot of these albums were made in 87 going into 88, right? Run DMC's album kind of got delayed because Run DMC were trying to get off a profile, you know? And then they were like, okay, we're going to have to stay on profile for this album. And then after this album, they were trying to get on Def Jam. But the thing is that rap had changed so much in 12 to 18 months, over a 12 to 18 month span, that Run DMC just could not keep up with the changing of the guard. Like, I got to tell you, like, this album is the height of of Run DMC's influence, of their sound, everything. Like, you go back and listen to this album, right? Peter Piper is a fucking jam. Peter Piper is one of the iconic songs that DJs play. Like, everybody had to have this. And my Adidas, you couldn't be anywhere without it. Doom, cat, doom, 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 cat, doom, doom. And here's the other thing about my Adidas, bro. Do you know how my Adidas is under 3 minutes?
Yeah, 2:47.
It's under 3 minutes. Yeah. Okay? Now,
which is like short for that era, right?
It's short for that era. And the thing about my Adidas is that the wild thing about this song, right, is you heard it everywhere, but it was over quick. All right? It was over quick. And the thing was, it was a precursor to something else, right? Like, you were already going to get to Run DMC's album. Okay? The next single was the song that was going to get people who were not already on board to buy the album. And that's the difference. This was just like, oh, the album coming. The next album is like, buy this album. And also, Run DMC always went on tour, right? So the thing that blew the fucking world up was that when the Beastie Boys came out, now they went on tour with the Beastie Boys, but the Beastie Boys wasn't shit really. But when they went back on the Together Forever tour, the Beastie Boys are bigger than Run DMC. Okay?
Which, I mean, I'm just going to say this because I grew up a big Beastie Boys fan as a young Jewish kid in New York. And the one thing that I notice about Run DMC is the way that they rhyme is very similar to the style that the Beastie Boys were rhyming in. And Beastie Boys were getting away with it all the way to 1998 with Intergalactic. So, you know, was there something of a whitewashing of Run DMC with Beastie Boys? Did people feel that way? Or was that just the style at the time?
No. They were pretty much a crew. So if you think about it, right? You had Run DMC and you had the Beastie Boys. They were pretty much the same goddamn camp. That's why they went on the Together Forever tour. And that's why Slow and Low, which was written by Run DMC, ends up being a Beastie Boys song. You know, like, there were lines and stuff that live your life long. I want the gong show, I won't get gong. We're the Beastie Boys, not Cheech and Chong. That's the same shit that Run said in Crush Groove. On the gong show, I won't get gong. It's Run. My name is Run and not Cheech and Chong. Know what I'm saying? And then he says, let me hear you rap to Sheila E. Like, and then you hear fucking Slow and Low. You're like, wait a minute. Hold on.
Let it flow. Let yourself
go. Yeah, it was a Run-DMC song first. Right? You know? So it's wild because the story is that I've heard the story that it was a reference track. I've heard the story that Beastie Boys covered them. Right? So, but either way, it doesn't fucking matter because nobody heard the Run-DMC version until after they heard the Beastie Boys version. Right? So it is what it is. But it doesn't matter because they were in the same camp, you know, it didn't really matter. But the thing is that why did the Beastie Boys do old school rap longer? Mm-hmm. Because they were the Beastie Boys. Now, here's the thing. Now, I need y'all to understand. If Rakim or Q-Tip or KRS-One rap a certain style, right? And the Beastie Boys came up doing that same type of shit, you wouldn't believe the Beastie Boys. Because the Beastie Boys were... Y'all were hold it now, hit it. Y'all were the Hey Ladies guys. So if the Beastie Boys switched up and started rapping all intricate and shit, nobody would believe them. So they were like, well, this is our chamber. We do the old school back and forth rap shit because that's us. We don't have to stretch ourselves to do that. And they maintained it. And people respected them for it. Like, there's a lot of people that, like, switched up their rap style with the era. Like, I'm going to give you an example. Are you familiar? Of course you are. You should be familiar with Young MC, right? Bust the Move. Yeah. Bust the Move. Principal's Office, you know, all that shit. You know, he wrote Funky Cold Medina, and he wrote, like, Wild Thing for Tone Loc, right? In 1990, he did another album called, I believe it was called Brainstorm after he got off. And like he rhymed kind of the same style he did on the first album. The shit didn't go anywhere. So now what people don't know about Marvin Young is Marvin Young was not originally from California. Marvin Young was from New York. He moved to California. So in 1992, I think, he went back to New York and started working with Ali from A Tribe Called Quest on a new album. And he was doing that, you know, that intricate fast rapping, you know, doing that flavorful rap shit, you know, like on the East Coast. And nobody believed him. Nobody believed him. Go fucking listen to that album.
Because he's the Bust a Move guy.
Yes, because he's the Bust a Move guy. What's the flavor? What's the flavor? So what you say? No one want to hear that shit. Nobody want to hear that shit. Right? Because you're the 80 smarty, go to a party. You know? You're the principal's office guy. You know? Like, we don't want to hear, like, oh, you're the pick up the pace guy. We don't want to hear shit. Like, imagine if JJ Fad, who did Supersonic, decided to start rapping like fucking MC Light or Queen Latifah. People be like, get the fuck out of here with that. That's not y'all. You know?
All right.
So that's kind of what happened with the Beastie Boys. But the Beastie Boys were like, hey, we know our lane and we could do this. The difference was that I recently, because the course I'm doing, I've talked to DMC from Run-DMC several times because, like, in the hip-hop academic space, I've done a lot of things with him. And he's explained that okay, I'm going to fucking blow your minds here. A lot of people think that Run was writing the rhymes. No. DMC was actually writing the rhymes if they didn't get someone else to write the rhymes for them. Like, for instance, I believe on this album, Raising Hell, I believe 2 songs were written by LL Cool J. Is It Live in Perfection? 2 songs back to back are written by LL Cool J. And LL Cool J idolized Run-DMC, especially Run. So he wrote routines. He write routines. Hey, yo, here. So Is It Live in Perfection? The routines written by LL for Run-DMC. All right? And DMC often wrote the rhymes. He's like, you think Jay wrote the rhymes? I wrote the rhymes. He said this recently. I was there. I seen it. So like to give you the idea of like how things worked in the group, right? The wild thing is that when you listen to this album, it's an easy album to ingest. it just flows over you. Peter Piper is tricky. My Adidas, Walk This Way is the bomb. Is It Live, Perfection, Hit It, Run, Raising Hell, You Be Illin', Dumb Girl, Dumb, 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 Dumb. You know, Son of Byford and Proud to Be Black. Now, this album was massive because it was easy for everybody. There were no real big speed bumps in this album, right? It was very easy for everybody to get on board with. It wasn't a long album, you know? It's not even 40 minutes long. But it was easy for everybody to digest and take in. And it was everywhere, right? But My Adidas was the best foot forward for this album. If you look at this album and think, what would have been a better choice of a lead single? It doesn't exist. My Adidas was the perfect lead single. And also, I stayed up late to watch the Saturday Night Live that was hosted by Malcolm Jamal Warner. This is also why it was a big deal. Malcolm Jamal Warner was host of Saturday Night Live. A black teen was host of Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
And the musical guest was Run-DMC. They did Walk This Way and Hit It, Run. And Run pretended to beatbox. It was the greatest fucking thing. He pretended to beatbox live. It was the greatest thing ever.
Pretended. Wow. Yeah.
If Run was actually beatbox, you could probably find the live performance, the performance on you could probably find the performance on YouTube. But if that man is actually beatboxing live, tell me something I don't know. I taped the shit. I saw it live. I saw the fucking Bill Cosby sketch. I saw all that shit. So I'm saying, but this song was iconic. It kind of changed everything going forward. And also, I believe that it's the shortest song on this entire album.
Yeah, it is. And,
well, it's the shortest actual song on this album, I should say.
Right.
Mel and I were discussing
off
the air, you know, these records that we came up on, whether it's, you know, Nelly Air Force Ones or the Raekwon record we reviewed last season on a Mobility.
Sneakers, which was one of the few dope songs on that album. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that actually, I mean, I'm gonna just say this now because you've actually, you've answered a lot of questions I had for you so far. Because
for real?
Like, yeah, I was one of the first things I was gonna ask is like, because I wasn't sure of the timeline. I'm like, is this one of the greatest unsponsored ads ever? But apparently it was, because they didn't have an endorsement deal like Curtis Blow with Sprite or anything. So like, I guess it was rap it into existence sort of thing. When Russ was high or whatever and was like, yo, you should make a song about Adidas. And like, they were just like, okay, sure. And it blew up, and then Adidas came knocking and like gave him the $1 million. So yeah, that's kind of crazy, but it ties into something else you said earlier about how nowadays we would think of it as like shilling. And my little spiel about that is this song. So I first heard this song in 2005. My dad played it for me, and I liked it then. I like it now. I just realized we haven't given ratings. The song's if you want to give your rating first.
For me, it's a 10. It's a 10. Okay. It's a landmark rap song. It laid the foundation for future generations to do similar things, and it kind of put the battery in a lot of people's back. Oh, this is what you do. And also, the funny part is, I just mentioned it earlier without being prompted, is that a lot of people made parody songs of this, and then a lot of people made offshoot songs of this. Like, oh, wait, you can do that? Oh, cool, shit. Well, we gotta rap about valleys. We gotta rap about this. We gotta rap about Troop. You know, so like things went crazy from there. And then Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince ended up getting endorsed by L'École Sportif. I don't get it either. It happened.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, the song for me, I like it. It's a flat 7. Moulz, what's your rating on this?
7+. Sting Me Baby.
Nice. Okay. Well, yeah, it was. So I liked it when I first heard it. I like it now, but it just really hit me this week when I was listening to it for the first time in a long time. This is it's a song like this makes advertisement and product placement feel fire. Like it was, I was asking you kind of answer this, like, did it feel like an ad back then? And apparently not, because, go ahead.
No, because again, in that era, motherfuckers used to rap about brands regularly. So to make a song that was just like, we gonna rap about the shit that we rock, that everybody already rocks, that everybody already associates with for years.
Right.
And I think that's what took the sting out of it that I mentioned from the top. We've been seeing Run-DMC and Adidas since 1983. So by 86, on their third album, they make a song about Adidas. No. Just not ramming us down the throat, because nigga, we know.
It's like if we made My McDonald's, Mel, nobody would be upset with us.
Right, because we've been chilling McDonald's genuinely for like 13 seasons. Right. But yeah, that answered my other question, which was like, would you say this was the first sneakerhead representation in hip hop in singular song form? Because apparently this is already a part of the culture, but like the song being My Adidas, like the whole song is about the branding and the wearing of the shoes. Because you mentioned like, you were rocking and mentioning Pumas and Bally's and things, but like there was no song like My Bally's or My Pumas. Like, was this that first song?
Well, no, because people mentioned them in song, but this is the first time where someone said, we gonna put, and it's the lead single. So that makes it very different, right? Like, this is the lead single from an album is coming out. Like, again, this is rap going from being a single-based genre to an LP-based genre. So before, if anybody did do a song rapping about a sneaker or something, it was a one-off. Unless, this does well enough where we're going to give you another single. So this is a very unique case, right? Okay. Where there's going to be an album. Also, and like the other thing is that I talked about, if you look at the album, what else was going to be a lead single? You don't put out It's Tricky first. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You don't put out Walk This Way first. You know what I'm saying? You just don't. You don't put out Raising Hell first. You can't put out Hit It Run as a lead single first. Hit It Run's a B-side. You know what I'm saying? So My Adidas with Peter Piper was the perfect first foot forward. Best foot forward for this album to be released.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And it's also, again, one of the most iconic songs in rap history. The shit's under 3 minutes. And when you look back at history, you're like, wow, this was a super influential song. And the thing is that, are Run-DMC super lyrical? No. Are Run-DMC gonna kill you with the flows and the patterns? No. Was this beat one of the all-time greatest beats in rap history? No. Is this one of the greatest songs ever in rap history? Yes. Is it one of the most iconic rap songs in history? Yes. So you end up skinning the whatever. What's the phrase? There's more than one way to skin a cat. I don't even like that phrase. So they got the job. I bailed out. I bailed out halfway. It got the job done. Let's just say that it got the job done regardless. Like, this is a hard ass beat, right? But
yeah,
nobody's said, hey, I'm gonna reuse the My Adidas beat. They don't.
This ties into everything like about why I like the record. Like, I was saying, I actually thought about this because the line in the song is like, so now I'm just standing here shooting the gift. My first note was like, rappers need to refer to rapping as the gift again because it sounds dope, but I think they don't. And maybe this is just, I feel, but like, I think it would expose a lot of them because a lot of these new age raps, you don't really have to be gifted to do. But this beat specifically is really just drums, sound effects, and scratching. But because of that, the focus is the words. I feel like they just needed a rhythm, something to nod hard to, and then all the focus is on the words. And I don't find the beat boring. Right, they're hard drums, right? Something hard.
An equally emphatic performance. And that's the thing about Run-DMC. There's genuine camaraderie happening on the mic, real chemistry between the group, especially the way that they structure their rhymes or they're finishing each other's bars and stuff like that. They have a lot of presence on the track and great chemistry. That's the secret in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's it's the beat stumping, the lyrics are thumping in a way, and all the attention is on the lyrics because there isn't a lot of melody or anything, like violins or nothing. It's drums, and they're rocking over the drums, so you really hone in on these words. And I think this all comes together because at first I thought I was just being nostalgic Mel. I'm like, what's this phrase, rose tinted lenses or whatever, but it felt like to me back then, and even when I was growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, the attitude around ads from both the people who were making them and the consumers wasn't so cynical. And there was a lot of heart and fun in the ads. We've talked on this show about how commercials just felt they were better back then. And I feel like it was because they wanted the stuff to seem cool, not just because they wanted to sell the stuff, but they had pride in the advertisement. Like that's the word that I landed on, was like pride. Because when they're rapping here, it's very emphatic. There's conviction. I feel like they really wear these things and they want to explain why they do. And I think right now in 2023, we're very sensitive to being marketed to, as we should be, because like the internet made every moment an opportunity for them to try to sell us on something.
Yeah,
like,
but also here's the issue with that too. Gen X came into being, right? And the next generation after them, there's this documentary, I swear I've mentioned it before, The Merchants of Cool. Mm-hmm. You can find it on YouTube. And it explained how the following generation were the most watched, the most documented, the most studied generation on record by corporations and business entities, because they wanted to understand how to market to this generation, and they wanted to make them consumers at a very young age, and they wanted to form their minds. And what ended up happening was the opposite. They tried to find these unique ways to advertise to them, to the point where their brains started to phase out the advertising entirely. Right. And now the present generation is going up, like post the millennials, Gen Z, what have you, marketing to them. So they kind of came up with anti-marketing. Anti-marketing is a strategy. But then what happened is they got hip to that. So the extreme happened where now we live in a world where there's no private space. There's no free space. You go to a train station and the walls used to just be walls. The walls are ads. You look at a bus. The bus ain't a bus. The bus got ads. You're at a bus stop. The bus stop is ads. Right. You having sex. On the ass is an ad. Like everything is an ad.
Right.
Because they over market now. Because they're like, oh, you're tuning it out. So we have to find a way to get to you. Now, in the case of my Adidas, we've already said it. Run-DMC were pretty much billboards for Adidas for years without being billboards for Adidas for years. So them coming out and saying, hey, we're going to make a song called My Adidas. It's under 3 minutes. Shit sounds like a jingle. It's quick. It's over. Bam. Buy the album. It's on there on the album. It's not the first thing on the album. I think it's third. And, you just get through it. And, like, when you got joints like You Be Illin', and you got joints like It's Tricky, and you got joints like Hit It Run and Raising Hell, you don't care. Walk This Way destroyed Earth. Like Walk This Way. The insane thing about, and I know we're talking about my Adidas, but the insane thing about Walk This Way is I have to tell you, as a Bostonian. Again, Walk This Way didn't save Run-DMC. Run-DMC saved Aerosmith. Aerosmith was dead. So they do the song, they save Aerosmith, right? But the test market for Walk This Way was Boston. What they did was they went to the rock stations in Boston. There were several of them. And they said, so we're going to give you this song, this new song. It's Aerosmith. It's Walk This Way with Run-DMC. They're like, we don't want to play that rap bullshit. They're like, look, we're just going to give you this song. They play it on the air. People complain. People threaten everybody. Death threats, all this hatred comes when they start playing it. By the end of the week, it's the number one most requested song.
Hey.
Okay. And it took over the Boston market, and they were like, well, if it could do that in the home of Aerosmith, this shit's about to be a hit. And it was a hit. The video comes out and it resurrects Aerosmith's careers. They get in the studio immediately, make their next album. Aerosmith's back. They've been back since. So just to give you an idea, the power of Run-DMC and the importance of Run-DMC, and that's why you would always see Aerosmith and Run-DMC do this song together, because they owed them. Thank you. And also there's this weird Boston tie, because Boston was like a second home for Run-DMC for a lot of cases, and Aerosmith is a Boston rock group. So there's this weird, interesting Boston tie, and I say one of the biggest, longest running Adidas places where like Adidas is king is Boston to this day. I could give you a clip to a YouTube thing where I was just watching it not too long ago. I hate the title. 1988 Special Report, Crime in Roxbury, parentheses, Boston's Ghetto, Real Stories, and the Wayback Archives. And it's a dozen young people were murdered or had serious injuries during a string of shooting events that occurred in the summer of '88 in Boston's predominantly black Roxbury neighborhood. But they get into a stretch where they come to Roxbury and they talk about the Adidas tree, and there's footage of the Adidas tree. So you need to understand how iconic Adidas is to Boston. Like, I'm wearing Adidas right now. I'm wearing Adidas socks and I'm wearing Adidas underwear. On my dresser, I have Adidas cologne. I have Adidas body spray. Like, I'm looking at 2 pairs of Adidas in front of my bookshelf. Okay, like I have over 25 pairs of Adidas. 10 of those are a pair of dead stock Adidas, specifically the Adidas A16 Plus Ultra Boost, which was it was a soccer boot that was converted to a pair of Adidas that hasn't been out since 2018. I have 10 pairs of those in the same colorway. I'm like a cartoon character.
Hey, Adidas, if you listening right now, I know y'all suffering. Got to get that clown Kanye up out of there. Reach out to Dart, man.
Hey,
I want to buy the old Yeezy stock for half price with the Yeezy scratched out and just with Dart written inside.
No,
come on.
Absolutely not. Yeezys are easily one of the ugliest makes of sneakers in the history of history. And one of the biggest problems with Adidas is that Adidas has been making nothing but ugly ass sneakers since. And the sneakers that I actually love, I buy dead stock from eBay because Adidas doesn't make them anymore. So my 2 favorite makes of sneakers over the last probably 5 to 8 years are those Adidas I just mentioned. And if you look at pictures of me on anywhere, I'm wearing those. And the other sneakers I wear are the Ultra Boost, the ones without laces. So the laceless Ultra Boost, I have a gang of those, and they're dead stock too. So I haven't bought a new pair of Adidas from Adidas since the Ultra Boost 20, which I hated. So, and that was the one pair of sneakers I actually bought from Adidas during the entire pandemic. There's another pair of Adidas I actually bought. It's the Dr. Doom Marvel Adidas. I have a pair of those. So other than that, that's the only pair of actual Adidas that have been made in the last plus 5 years that I bought. The rest have been dead stock. But like, I still have nothing but Adidas in terms of accessories.
That reminds me, you talked about the laceless Ultra Boost. I was going to ask you about that. In the song, they're talking about rocking Adidas with no shoestring in them. Was that like the style back then?
Well, okay, very important. That was at first that was a very specific thing that they did in Hollis, Queens. Because they discovered that, because what happened is this is something that like people ain't gonna understand. You wanted to keep your shit clean. You want to keep your shit fresh. So people constantly cleaned their sneakers, the soles and everything, brushed them and stuff. And what you would do is you would take the laces out and then clean them. And then you would take the laces out, clean the laces, wash the laces, soak the laces, and then have them dry. And sometimes you had somewhere to go. And on one instance, this is what I'm told. This is I don't know if this is exactly urban legend or this is a fact. What happened is somebody was like, shit, I got to go somewhere. The laces were still drying. The sneakers. So they're like, fuck. They just put on the Adidas without the laces and went somewhere. And they're like, oh, shit. They never came off. They never came off. And they told everybody, it's like, yo, look, He put the sneakers on. It was like, look, no laces. And he's doing this. He's like, it's not coming off. You can do everything you want to with the laces out. It's like, get the fuck out of here. So he took his laces out, and they did the same thing. And then it became a thing in Queens.
Word.
And so in Hollis, Queens, that's like, cats would just see people walk around with no laces. Like, wait, hold on a second. I don't need to have laces in these motherfuckers? So that's how that happened. So like, look, ma, no shoelaces. So
that's how innovation be sometimes,
yeah,
right? It's an accident. Just okay.
So and sometimes Run-DMC would get interviewed, and they were one of the few rap groups that would actually be on TV. And he was like, you guys don't have laces in your Adidas? And one time he was like, well, you could just rock them this way. You know, it's comfortable. And they don't come off. Look, my Adidas don't come off. And you just see Run just put his foot in the air, you know. See, it's not coming off. And I was just like, oh, my God. But also I need to stress something else, right? There's a scene. I don't know. I think it's in Tougher Than Leather, where Run's on the phone ordering multiple pairs of Adidas in different colorways and hangs up. And I'm like, oh shit, you can do that? I gotta make this one pair of sneakers last for 6 months.
Right.
Like, this dude can buy multiple pairs of Adidas. And also, to give you an idea how wild it was, I remember hearing Big Daddy Kane say, I get a fresh cameo cut every day. And my my jaw hit the floor. I was like, oh, he can get a haircut every day? I had to pretty much get an afro before I looked busted enough where I could go to my mom and be like, Ma, I think I need a haircut. Like, yeah, because people looking at me like, what's wrong with Miss Barbara? She has her kids out here looking like messes. Like, here, take some money, go to the George's barbershop and get that shit cut off. So it was like, to get money to get a haircut was a big deal. And to like get a pair of sneakers was crazy. But to get multiple pairs of Adidas from a phone call and have them delivered to you, that shit was wild to me. Like, again, I thought Run-DMC were like superheroes.
I mean, he's saying it in the song, like, got blue and black because I like to chill, yellow and green when it's time to get ill, got a pair that I wear when I'm playing ball. I felt the same way coming up. And this is going to tie into something I'm saying later, but like, I used to wonder how like kids in school, I'm like, how they got matching shoes to every outfit? Like, we weren't broke or anything, but like, I knew better than to ask like my parents for like the same pair of shoes with a different color. Like, they was going to look at me crazy. But it's like,
we had to steal, you know, like no, I dead ass. It was nothing was crazier than when, okay, so there's a movie called I Like It Like That, right? And and he goes to his son because he has his daughter. He's like, hey, yo, you could go ahead get some colors. Like, good, I got my own money. He's like, oh, cool, got my own money. So he go back to his daughter. He's like, so where's the brother? He's like, oh, he got his own money. He's getting his own. He's like, he got new kicks and jeans. And the father turns and looks at the son, and he knows that this motherfucker got brand new jeans. He got brand new kicks, and he's hanging with drug dealers. And he goes over and whoops his ass in front of everybody, in front of the mural of his dead uncle. So to give you an idea, but when we were kids, I mean kids is like teenagers, not children. Like, we can be outside, mom's at work, you know. We had like a little fucking group of boosting kids, and we would go steal different clothes, different outfits and stuff like that. Sometimes we get extra. We like take orders and steal shit for people and give it to them. We stole so much shit that like we would have shit we stole in our lockers at the end of the school year. It'd be summer. We got these heavy ass jeans. What the fuck we gonna do with these Jabot jeans? It's June, nigga. It's hot. We got shorts on, right? And
right.
So like we used to steal. And we stole so much that it was like, yo, we need multiple pairs of sneakers in different colorways to match all this shit we stole. Like, we got all these different colors. So like, we have to come up with schemes and stuff like that and design and come up with outfits and shit like that. So it's crazy because my mom and sister didn't really notice. It's like, yo, so that's a lot of blue. that's all red. It's all yellow. Okay, damn. Like, you look a superhero. And it's like they never caught on. It's like, yo, why do I have 6 pairs of sneakers? Like,
right.
You know,
right. Like I didn't get you those. Those came from somewhere. Right.
Yeah. Like you didn't buy these. You know. So it was what. Before that, what you had to do was you had to get a pair of sneakers and a colorway that worked for everything. And there's a famous line on Recognize Thresholds and Negative Stress by the Boogie Monsters. I used to get frustrated with my Nike Airs. They never matched my wigs. And I used to relate to that shit so much. I never wore Nike, but I used to relate to that shit so much because there was a time when you only had one pair of sneakers. And I'm gonna tell you all a story. I had a pair of Adidas that I got the beginning of I didn't know what grade I was in. Later found out I was in 10th grade. I was pissed about that. That was in 11th. I got a pair of street balls, Adidas street balls. I think it was the street ball 2s. And the only color left, because I thought I wore size 13, I didn't, was the only color they had left in size 13 was purple. And I went to Boston Night School, which was purple, and I was going to English High, which was blue. And I was like, fuck. So I had to have these black and purple Adidas. And I was like, what the fuck matches with these? If I wear a green shirt, I got these purple-ass black and purple Adidas. So I'm like, why couldn't I just find black sneakers or just white sneakers? Like, god damn. I should be stressed out, sweating. I'm on the train going to school. I got a green sweatshirt, got my hoodie on, got my jacket on. I'm looking down at these fucking black and purple-ass Adidas. I'm just like, hating life. So the idea of having, you can have a purple outfit. You could have an outfit and be like, oh, I got a pair of Adidas to match that, is crazy.
Right.
Crazy to me. Who has that kind of money? I have the inflation calculator on as a bookmark. You know what I'm saying? And I think about, these sneakers cost $59.95 in 1993. How much is that in 2023 money? Shit. So like my mom was not giving that up. My sister wasn't going to give it up. My big brother was like, I got bills, so go steal, nigga.
Word. I mean, this ties directly into something I realized listening to my Adidas this week because, I heard the song in 05. I liked it. I related to it. I felt the passion, the energy. Like that feeling, like they sell me on the hype because this is the kind of song to me where like you cannot know what Adidas are, get to the end of the song and immediately seek them out because that's how they made them sound. And I realized something this week, and it's like I felt this way before. My generation had my Adidas, and it came 2 years after I heard my Adidas. So in 07, this is how I felt when Soulja Boy dropped it. Like I need me some bathing apes. And like that was a sensational song for us. I was like a freshman in high school, and I brought in like 30 seconds of it because like the similarities. You talk about how influential this record was going to be. It's like we had Soulja Boy, but you got Nelly, Air Force Ones, you got records like that. Run-DMC kind of sets the stage for that. But like this is what I was playing off of my PSP, mind you. Catholic high school here in Peoria, Illinois. I'm just like dreaming. I had pictures of the shoes saved on my PSP because Soulja Boy made me want these shoes. And like this was my Adidas.
I got me some bathing. I got me some bathing. I got me some bathing. I got me some. I check out my bathing apes. I'm fresh to death and you like me. Don't try to cop my style, man. Stick to them Nikes, green, white, black, and side D. Super clean bathing ape. My shoes like my chain shine hard. They might hurt your face. I'm clean in this thing. BAPES up on my free fresh fade with the waves and 30 boys up on my tee. You wanna get them, but you can't get like me. No, asking me, Soulja Boy, where you get your shoes? Hey.
So like that was our version of my Adidas. Like, and the truth about Bape was like they weren't selling that here in Peoria, Illinois, but we had a lot of kids with knockoff Bape. Like this was not, it was bootleg for sure. But hey, we had the like star on it. Like you could pass it off.
Knockoff Bape. I mean, even in places where you could buy Bape, like I was in Manhattan, and there was the Bape store in Soho, but you could still go in Midtown or Lower Manhattan and buy fake Bape from some Asian dude for much cheaper. And in some ways, some people say that some of the fake shit was actually real, and they used the fake shit to control the fake market as well. I don't know if that's true. But
okay. So I'm gonna fuck your head up. Do you know how I got introduced to Bape?
How's that?
So in Boston, one of my boys was this dude named Chan. His name was Snecky Chan, but it was Chan in Boston. He was a rapper. I believe he was from either Philly or Jersey, around there. And he moved to Boston, and he was signed to the same record labels like Acrobatic, Mr. Lift, some other people. It was a record label called Detonator Records, and he had a song. He had two songs. It was "Politicking with Chan" and "Big in Japan." The reason why his song was called "Big in Japan" because one of his boys was a dude named Verbal. Verbal was a huge star in Japan, massive star in Japan, came to Boston to go to seminary school, believe it or not. And we all used to hang in the same scene. And also, there was a stretch where, you know the dude that made Gangnam Style?
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Yeah, Psy. So Psy was an unhappy student at Berklee College of Music in Boston. All right? So there was this weird thing happening. Now, how did I first was first introduced to Bathan Apes? Verbal was in a group called M-Flow. Huge in Japan. What they would do is they would make a track, collaborate with somebody, make a small EP called Loves. So it'd be like M-Flow Loves, and it'd be the artist, and then they make this EP, maybe a couple of songs. These songs become hits. Everybody buys it. So it's like mini albums, the same shit they do in K-pop and J-pop, right? So I first was introduced to Bape through him because he was friends with Nigo. So they would do videos, and there's multiple videos of Verbal. There's one, M-Flow Loves Emily and Diggy Mo Dopamine. You can find it on YouTube. Avex Tracks is the name of the label. And in the video, it's him floating around in like a spacesuit or some shit and like weightless, and there's just a bunch of Bapes. Just Bapes flying at him. And this video was on the early days of YouTube. To give you an idea how old it is. So the early days, like 2006, 2007. So that was my introduction. Right. My introduction to was, and also, what was it? The Teriyaki Boys. So Nico was also with the Teriyaki Boys. And they were associated through like Kanye and all these other folks. And they just Bape everywhere. So that's when I got introduced to Bape. But on the other side, in terms of like selling sneakers, one thing that always killed me was that the pack, homie Lil B's first group, the Pack. Lil B and Young L.
The Vans. Yeah.
So here's what's crazy about that. If you look at when that song was released, Got My Vans and It Look Like Sneakers, it's an anniversary for Vans. And it's pretty much a Vans commercial. And then that Damn Daniel campaign happened the same year of another Vans anniversary.
Right, and this is what I mean about like now the marketing is so you got to really like question what's going on because they think they slick.
Like I got me some Bathan Apes. I miss Mophie Juice Pack. That's my favorite promotional rap.
No, we don't need to talk about Mophie Juice Pack. Yeah, I rapped about a portable phone charger in 2013. That's a whole thing. But
that killed promotional rap. I think you could really start the oral history with My Adidas. You end with Mophie Juice Pack. And anything afterwards, it's just, things have become too cynical to accept that kind of advertising through the music.
Well, mine was definitely pure. I did it for my aunt who worked at Verizon. But, I mean, this is kind of what I mean, though, with Soulja Boy and, like, My Adidas. There was that same sense of it being organic. Like, Soulja Boy didn't have a deal with Bape. I mean, like, you talk about that early YouTube. He threw that up. You can tell they shot that with, like, a camcorder. And, like, it's that same thing where, like, you're young and you don't feel like you're being marketed to. Like, you talk about the kids nowadays and how, like, think we've been over marketed to, like, through the 90s and in this new generation. You'll see them, like, these young kids, these teenagers have, like, makeup ads or what. They'll put #ad in the thing because I feel like they don't want to be seen as uncool for shilling this item.
That now, I think by
and plus, the platforms make you disclose guidelines. That information. Right.
But also, cats used to do it even if they didn't to make it look like they had a sponsor.
Right. It's the game is just all wacky now, but it's like, I mean, I remember the Damn Daniel Kid, but we were definitely firmly in the era of like something might look organic, but there was somebody in a boardroom somewhere. How can we get this, going on the low so nobody thinks it's,
what about that? Like, around that same time, there was that kid that got a year of nuggets from Wendy's. For free.
The Nugs thing, right? Yeah, I mean, he was probably paid off by Wendy's to be the representative of like that thing.
It's like vaguely, like CIA activity, like they contact some civilian out of the blue.
you know, right? Yeah, but like I like records like this. I like records like the Soulja Boy record because it felt purely from a sense of style and what was genuinely trendy amongst the youth. Like Run-DMC had been wearing Adidas. Soulja Boy had been wearing Bapes.
Right.
Like, so
and Adidas kind of being the,
hip hop sneaker.
Yeah, the hip hop sneaker, and really like the official / unofficial b-boy uniform, the tracksuit.
Right. So nobody's looking at him crazy.
Look at Missy, Mel. In your era and my era as well, growing up, watching those Missy videos with all the b-boy breakdancing and all that stuff. Everyone's, including Missy, decked out in Adidas tracksuits and shell toes.
Word. Yeah. Shout out to my girl Allison Stoner. I think she was wearing it in there, Yeah. Like, I like that. Because, I mean, some people might look at it as like, oh, okay, the commercialization of hip-hop. But if people are already doing, like, having a sense of style is a part of hip-hop.
Look. I know people like to complain about the commercialization of hip-hop and it's over-commercialized and this. Dude, hip-hop made these motherfucking brands. Techniques is techniques because of hip-hop, okay? Techniques ain't shit if it wasn't for the fact that hip hoppers said, hey, this is a brand. Lee was never like, all right, we're going to lean into hip hop, but hip hop was like Lee's. You know what I'm saying? So it's just this weird thing. People always talk about this got commercialized, this got this. And then all of a sudden this happened. I was like, the very first rap record that came out and crossed over and hit Billboard and then hit the Hot 100. It was already a wrap for commercialization. All right, it was already over. The cat's already out the bag. What's the shit they call it? The chest, and then there's hope in it. Pandora's box. Pandora's box. Okay. Pandora's box was fucking open already. It was wide open. Like, it's over. So people always kill me with, rap needs to go back to, it can't. You can't put the shit back in the horse. And the horse died in 1980. It's over. Like, it is what it is. Just deal with the now.
And it's a double-edged sword to an extent, because you need financial incentive to be able to continue something. You can't just do things out in the park for the love forever without having some way to monetize it and way to earn a living off of it.
But see, here's the thing. Even when they were doing it for the love, they were getting paid, just not a lot. So rap started out, it was pretty much space internet at the back of the car. I got a pool in my jacuzzi. I got a jacuzzi in my limo, all this other stuff. Shit you knew they didn't have. Okay? Very important. Rap started out, people were rapping about wealth in terms of something that's aspirational. Okay? Mm-hmm. This is what we want to have. And when you listen, this motherfucker is from the Bronx. He's 17 years old. He don't have this shit. Now, when we get to a certain year, you realize, oh, wait a second. He might have this. Nah, he ain't got that. He ain't got that. He might have that chain. He might be able to buy some suits from homie, in New York, like, you know what I'm saying? You might be able to do that, but there's no way he has the shit he's rapping about. Then by the time we get to the 90s, motherfuckers is rapping about the shit they got. Like the late 90s, like Cash Money were rapping about having these cars, and they kept a factory sticker on them so you knew exactly how much they paid for them. That's some different shit. That is some RoboCop shit. That's some 6000 SUX shit.
Well, I mean, you gotta credit the growth of hip hop through early commercialization to where now they can rap about actually having these things. It's not aspirational. You don't get to that point without the prior point. So
I got a Benz that I ain't even drove yet. That's not lyrics. That's the dude who wrote the rhyme for Puff said, oh shit, you haven't driven that one yet? I got a Benz that I ain't even drove yet. Oh, that's fire. It's your life. do shit.
Right. Yeah, it all ties in. This is why I like doing these episodes and these albums, because like the blueprint is there. Like if you're willing to look at it, like everything that happens now comes from something that happened before, you know. And I mean, this song, if I don't really know I have about the song itself, I think to this day one of the hardest starts to a song in hip hop. Like you have to be locked in from that moment. Like it's just the emphasis is there. Yeah. Like I can't think of very many other rap songs where it was like the very first words. You know what time it is.
So what's wild about that is that when you hear it's like, all right, we're not doing a take in the studio. I'm performing this live, and I need to get the crowd's attention. Right. It's also the same feeling that LL Cool J had when he starts "I'm Bad." No rapper can rap quite like I can. To take a muscle bound man and put his face in the sand.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like
they say Mel can rap.
And also he again, LL Cool J used to idolize Run-DMC. He used to idolize Run. He wanted to be like, he wanted them to see him how he saw them. Right? So there's a famous LL Cool J freestyle. I believe it's at, I don't know where it is. Is it at Powerhouse? Somewhere. Where he's freestyling and he says J. Now here's the problem too. Because Cut Creator's name is J. But Jam Master J often used to get on the decks and LL used to get on and rap when J was cutting. So I don't know who's on the turntables, but he's rapping. And then they say Run-DMC just came in the house, and this motherfucker starts rapping, just going off. And the story I heard was that there was a tiff with them on the tour, on this particular tour, when LL Cool J was supporting Run-DMC, and he started rapping at Run as he was walking through the crowd, dapping people. But if you can find that shit on YouTube, it's like LL Cool J freestyle, and I think it's from 86 or 87. No, not 87, because 87 he was like already doing tours. He was doing the Def Jam tour, then he did the Nitro tour in 89. So there was a tour where LL Cool J was supporting Run-DMC. Then there's a tour, then it's just like, we just gotta put LL on his own tour. Then they had LL on a tour with wait, was there a tour with LL Cool J, Run-DMC, and the Beastie Boys? Because he got pissed off at the Beastie Boys and then they put LL on tour with the Beastie Boys. He got pissed off at the Beastie Boys because the Beastie Boys would bring unnecessary attention because rap already had a bad stigma. And then people started criticizing the Beastie Boys for the shit they did on stage. So he was pissed off at them for a minute. So families argue, is what I'm saying. There's arguments in families because all these people are friends, lifelong friends, and forever, and love each other. But when you're coming up, you know, and you're young and you're trying to get to the money, shit happens. But yeah, Run-DMC, My Adidas, all-time great song, off an all-time great album, which was the peak of Run-DMC's popularity and influence.
Word.
I would say all-time great Dart Adams appearance here on Rap Rankings. I mean, you just dropped so many gems and a lot of stuff I'm going to be thinking about just, you know, contextually as we continue on this journey. So thank you.
Hey, audience out there, give it up because y'all was quiet earlier. I think y'all was probably Nike fans or something. Here now it's time to chill.
I was going to say, where are the applause? Let's get the applause in there.
I'm gonna add it in post. But yeah, they're gonna chill out.
I'm hearing some rumblings. Is there another book on the way?
Yeah. So, my boy DJ Amir, who's one of the most influential DJs in the past, I say 20, 25 years, him and Khan and Amir put out a series called On Track as a bunch of like obscure and hard to find classic songs for diggers and, you know, people to edit and for people to sample and b-boy to and all this other stuff. Iconic songs. So they had a whole series of those. And also, like, he's an all-time great DJ. He did a lot of work in terms of the record industry, working with Fat Beats in different places. He got a lot of records distributed and made that a lot of people don't know about. Worked with a lot of famous labels. And he has all of these stories. And he's from Boston. He has all these stories. And when you come from Boston, everybody from Boston you know. And only we know. So we would go back and forth on Instagram, talk about this record, this part of the town. Yo, you from here? Yeah, you know this person? Yeah, Yo, this person stiffed us on this record. Yeah, I know. That motherfucker ain't paid these people either. Yeah, so, and he was like, yo, I got all these stories. So he went on Instagram. He was like, yo, I need to write a book, and I need a co-writer. So pretty much everybody was like, Dart, just get Dart, damn it. So he was like, yo, Dart, you want to co-write a book? And I've been going back and forth with multiple publishers for pretty much like since my book was released in August, trying to find my next book because I didn't want to do another book over there. Because the book I was going to do over there, I don't want to do anymore. And I was like, I'm not interested. It was going to be a Drake book. Fuck it, I'll say it. I didn't want to do
really?
it. Yeah, it was going to be a Drake book. It's not happening, so I can say it now.
Okay.
No. So I didn't want to do that shit. So I was like, I want to do a book I want to do because I'm about to be 48 in August. And ain't no way in hell I'm going to be almost 50 doing what other motherfuckers want me to do. And so I was just like, so he was like, and I was in line to do other books, but I didn't hear back from the publishers. So I emailed him like, what the fuck's the matter with you? You going to bring me for a meeting and all this other stuff and then not talk to me again? Like, you're on ghost writers. You ghost people you date. And right, so and it got to a point where I was just like, I'm sick of the publishing world. And then the writer's strike happened, so I'm not going to be writing on it. I'm not going to be in a writer's room anytime soon. And the shows that I had about like trying to get made, all that shit's in limbo. So I was like, I need something to do. And he was just like, yo, you want to help me like be a co-writer for my book? And I'm like, hell yeah. So it was like he told me some stories. I was like, oh, this shit needs to happen. So me and DJ Amir, the tentative title was On Track because the series he did with Khan was On Track. So it's going to be off track. I mean, it's on track. So the book is going to be called On Track Again. And it's going to talk about his life and career. And this man has stories. Stories. And he's just sending them to me right now. And I'm just reading through this. I'm like, what? That was you? You did that? Wait a minute. Oh shit, he didn't pay y'all either? Oh wow. Yeah. And then like there's some stories it's like, yeah, we can't print that because that motherfucker shot people. So, you know, wow. It's gonna be a great book once it's done. 2024 is what we're aiming for.
Nice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I resurrected Boston Legends. So the Boston Legends brand, which had been dormant since the pandemic, we start putting out throwback jerseys and uniforms and shorts between 2018 and 2019. And then like the pandemic kind of shut down the factories that we worked at in early 2020. And we're coming back. We have a new distributor. We got the band back together, and 2023 going forward is going to be Boston Legends. We're going to be putting out shorts and jerseys and more.
Okay.
Look,
hey,
we
y'all
got a lot
here.
We got a lot of exclusive news here, folks.
Okay, exclusive news. Y'all know what's going on.
And Dart, before you go, I just want to say thanks for coming out. God bless you, and good night.
How did you know I had the drop loaded? All right, look, I'm gonna hit it.
Thanks for coming out. God bless you. Good night.
Oh man, yeah, we appreciate it, Dart, and you know, another classic appearance.
Another one in the books. Fuck it, I'll spoil it for the audience. I'm in a giving mood right now. We'll be kicking off season 15, season premiere style with Dart, with a big one. NWA, Straight Outta Compton.
Oh yeah, and the great thing about that is the album was released in 1989. 1989. Not 1988. It was not released in summer 88. It was released in the top of 1989. And I have proof, motherfuckers.
Hey, you know, folks, if anybody gonna have proof, it's Dart. So
stay tuned. And Dart, thank you again for joining us as always.
No problem. I always have receipts. Y'all know that.
Facts. All right. Well, I mean, stay tuned, folks, because there's more hell to raise right after this.
Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast.